Donald Trump says not so fast. What's going on?
Probably right in the middle, McGraw. I'm sure both of them speak with great certainty. Unfortunately, it's not certain. The law is not settled. Let's see if we can set the stage.
Yeah.
The Constitution says no person except a natural-born citizen may be president.
Okay.
Natural-born citizen. Now, that three-word phrase, number one, is not defined. It's not used anywhere else in the Constitution. It's been referred to as the Constitution's worst provision,
Okay.
and that it is an unresolved enigma.
Because it really doesn't mean it. What does natural-born citizen mean?
Yeah.
What does it mean? So you can you can get citizenship, McGraw and Kelly, one of three ways. You can be born within the jurisdiction, your parents can be a citizen, or you can be a naturalized citizen.
Okay.
Wait, when you say parents, one parent or both parents? Does it matter?
It depends on what the statute. In this case, it would be Congress. We'll talk in a moment, the English Parliament back in the 1700s and the 1600s. So the question boils down to, did the framers of the Constitution, when they used the phrase natural-born citizen, did they mean a citizen who was born in one of the 13 colonies, or a citizen whose parents were born in the colonies, immigrated, say, to Europe, and the individual was born in Europe to parents who were born in the colonies?
Right.
Can you be a natural-born citizen by blood? That's the question.
And you're saying that that has not been resolved?
Oh, it most definitely has not been resolved. It has never been considered by the United States Supreme Court, never been presented. There is a case pending now that was just filed the other day involving Senator Cruze in Texas, so maybe we'll get a judicial resolution. But if you think back, McGraw and Kelly, didn't we all have so much fun, not, in 2000 when the presidential election was turned over to the judiciary?
Right.
Who in their right mind could possibly hope for that again? But the short answer to your question, McGraw, is that it has not been resolved.
I thought, now, Ted Cruz specifically, his father is Cuban, his mother is an American, that's undisputed. He was born in Canada, that's not under dispute either. However, since his mother was a citizen, that automatically makes him a citizen no matter where you're born on the world.
Absolutely. Ted Cruz is and has always been, since he was born, a citizen. No one disputes that. I don't even think Mr. Trump disputes that.
Right.
The question is he a natural-born citizen for purposes of the Constitution? If we take a step back as to how the courts figured that out, the first place to start is, what was the state of the law in the late 1780s when the framers...
How would anybody figure this out?
Well, there are lots of commentaries and all. The first place they look is to Great Britain. At the time the Constitution was adopted, in Great Britain, the child of a British citizen was considered to be a natural-born subject when that child was born, comma. If the parent was, the father, rather, was a British citizen.
Not the mother.
If the father.
The father had to be a British citizen for the child to be a natural-born subject at the time.
Mitt Romney's father was born on a missionary in Mexico.
To two United States citizens.
Okay, so not a question.
So that wouldn't be a question.
What about McCain was born on a military base in Panama?
To two United States citizens.
So the fact that his dad was Cuban is the question.
I think that's probably the closer question. But to close the loop on McCain, again, you go back, you can have citizenship by place of birth, or citizenship by blood, or citizenship by naturalization. So with McCain, he certainly was citizenship by blood, probably citizenship by location of birth. It was a Panama Canal.
Right.
But what happened then immediately after the Constitution was adopted was the first Congress adopted a statute which said, if you are a child of United States citizens, then you are deemed to be a natural-born citizen.
Got it.
If your father had been a resident of the United States.
A resident?
A resident.
Born.
Not born. Well, he has to be a citizen.
Okay.
But if he's been living abroad for a period of time, then that was an issue.
All right, we're short on time here, but is it possible that Ted Cruz becomes president or becomes the nominee and somebody files a lawsuit and the Supreme Court says, sorry, you can't be president, and they kick him out of office or they won't allow him to be on the ballot?
Two parts. First, let me be very clear. I think it is highly likely that Senator Cruz is qualified under the Constitution to be president. But it is not settled law. Number two, it seems to me that if somebody were to challenge a president after they took the oath on that basis, I don't think the courts would take the case, McGraw, because if you think about it, the legislative branch would already have been on record passing on his bona fides by accepting the ballots of the Electoral College.
Right.
So I think the idea that the judiciary would then intervene to upset what two of the other co-equal branches have done would be equally highly unlikely.
What about prior to, well, we're out of time.
We got to go. Greg Willard, really interesting stuff. St. Louis University law professor. Send all your letters to St. Louis University Law. Greg, care of Greg Willard.